The morning sun shone through the tall windows of MIT's physics building. Students walked quickly through the halls, carrying heavy books and coffee cups. Most of them looked tired. It was only 8 a.m., but Professor Lee Jinwoo's advanced quantum mechanics class was already full. Park Mira sat in the third row, her notebook open and pen ready. At 19, she was the youngest student in the room. While other students struggled to stay awake, Mira's eyes were bright and alert. She had been excited about this class for weeks. "Today we will talk about faster-than-light communication," Professor Lee said as he wrote on the whiteboard. "Most scientists believe it is impossible. The laws of physics seem to prevent it." Mira watched as he drew diagrams and wrote complex equations. The other students took notes carefully, trying to copy everything exactly. But Mira was thinking about something else. The equations looked familiar to her, but also wrong somehow. "The main problem," Professor Lee continued, "is that information cannot travel faster than light. Einstein proved this many years ago. Any attempt to send messages across space instantly would break the basic rules of our universe." A student in the front row raised his hand. "Professor, what about quantum entanglement? Doesn't that happen instantly?" "Good question," Professor Lee smiled. "But quantum entanglement cannot carry actual information. It's like having two coins that always land on opposite sides. You can see what your coin shows, but you cannot control it to send a message." Mira frowned. She understood quantum entanglement differently. In her mind, she could see patterns and connections that the textbooks didn't explain well. She had always been good at math and physics, but lately, her understanding felt deeper than what her professors taught. However, Professor Lee said, some theoretical physicists have proposed impossible ideas. They imagine using quantum fields in ways that we cannot achieve with our current technology. He wrote another equation on the board. This time, Mira's hand shot up without thinking. "Yes, Miss Park." "Professor, what if you use a rotating quantum field instead of a static one?" Mira asked. "And what if you link it to gravitational waves at specific frequencies?" The room went quiet. Professor Lee stopped writing and turned to look at her. His face had gone pale. "Could you explain what you mean?" he asked slowly. Mira stood up and walked to the board. She picked up a marker and began writing equations quickly. Her hand moved without hesitation, as if she had done this many times before. "If you create a quantum field that rotates in 11 dimensions," she said while writing, "and then connect it to gravitational wave patterns that match the cosmic background radiation, you could create a tunnel through space-time." The other students watched in confusion. The equations Mira wrote looked nothing like what they had learned in their textbooks. But Professor Lee's eyes grew wider with each line. "The information wouldn't travel faster than light," Mira continued. "It would travel through a different part of space entirely, like taking a shortcut through a mountain instead of going around it." She finished writing and stepped back. The whiteboard was covered in equations that seemed to dance and flow together like a beautiful song written in mathematics. Professor Lee stared at the board for a long moment. His hands were shaking slightly. "Miss Park," he said quietly, "where did you learn this?" Mira looked surprised by the question. I just thought of it now. Doesn't it make sense?" "Class dismissed," Professor Lee said suddenly. "Please read Chapter 12 for next week." The students gathered their things and left, talking among themselves about Mira's strange equations. But Professor Lee remained standing in front of the whiteboard, staring at what she had written. After everyone had gone, he took out his phone and made a call. "It's me," he said when someone answered. "We have a problem. A big one." Meanwhile, Mira walked across campus to her next class, unaware that her simple answer to a physics question had just changed everything. In a government building 300 miles away, computers were already analyzing her equations, and somewhere in space, alien devices that used the exact same principles were carrying messages between distant stars. Agent Kim Taho sat in his small office at the FBI Boston field office. His computer screen showed a red alert message that had arrived just 2 hours ago. He read it again, making sure he understood correctly. Academic Monitoring System Alert. Level 5 Security Concern. Subject: Park Mira, MIT student. Theoretical work matches classified technology. Kim frowned and opened the attached files. The first was a photo of a young Korean woman with short black hair and bright eyes. She looked like any normal college student. The second file contained mathematical equations that made his head hurt just looking at them. The third file made him sit up straight. It was labeled Comparison Analysis and showed Mira's equations next to something called Helix Coalition Communication Array. Top secret. The equations were almost identical. Kim picked up his phone and called his supervisor. "Sir, I need to know more about this Park Mira case," he said. "How does a 19-year-old student know about alien technology?" "That's what you're going to find out," came the reply. "Start surveillance immediately. We need to know if she's working with foreign agents or if something else is happening." 2 hours later, Kim sat in an unmarked van across from MIT's campus. Through his binoculars, he watched students walking between buildings. A young woman caught his attention. Short, carrying a physics textbook, moving with confidence. It was Park Mira. Target acquired. He spoke into his radio. Beginning observation. Mira had no idea she was being watched. She walked to her favorite coffee shop near the campus and ordered her usual, a large coffee with extra sugar. She sat at a corner table and opened her notebook. Inside the coffee shop, Agent Lisa Park, no relation to Mira, pretended to read a newspaper while watching the target. She saw Mira pull out a pencil and start drawing diagrams in her notebook. Even from across the room, Lisa could see that the drawings looked like complex machinery. Back in her dorm room, Mira's roommate Yunhana was getting worried. For the past week, she had noticed strange things happening around campus. "Mira," she said when her roommate returned from coffee, "have you seen those men in dark suits? They've been around the physics building a lot lately." Mira looked up from her homework. "What men?" "They look like government agents or something. Always wearing sunglasses, even inside. And they have those little earpieces that security guards use." Mira laughed. "Hannah, you watch too many movies. They're probably just campus security or visiting professors." But Hannah wasn't convinced. She had seen one of the men taking photos of students leaving the physics building. Another one had asked the coffee shop owner questions about a young Asian woman who comes here often. That evening, Professor Lee Jinwoo sat in his office, staring at photos on his desk. The photos showed the equations Mira had written on the whiteboard. Next to them were classified documents he wasn't supposed to have. Professor Lee had been working with a secret government program for 5 years. His job was to study alien technology that had been recovered from crash sites. The government wanted to understand how the technology worked so they could build their own versions. But in all his years of research, he had never seen anyone solve alien engineering problems so easily. Mira had done in 5 minutes what teams of scientists had been trying to figure out for decades. His phone buzzed with a text message. "Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Secure location. Come alone." Meanwhile, Mira was in her room, working on homework for her advanced materials science class. The assignment was to design a theoretical container that could hold antimatter safely. Most students would spend weeks researching existing theories and copying ideas from textbooks. Mira finished the assignment in 2 hours. Her design used magnetic fields arranged in a pattern that looked like a flower. She had no idea that the same pattern was used in alien antimatter storage systems found in crashed ships. As she worked, Agent Kim and his team watched through a hidden camera they had installed in her room earlier that day. They saw her sketch designs that matched classified alien technology with frightening accuracy. "Sir," Kim spoke into his radio, "the subject just designed an antimatter containment system. It's identical to the one we found in the Nevada crash site." "Are you certain?" "Positive, sir. She's either the best spy in the world, or something very unusual is happening here. Outside Mira's window, Agent Lisa Park sat in a car, watching the building. Her job was to follow Mira wherever she went and report on everyone she talked to. But as the night went on, Lisa began to suspect that they weren't dealing with a normal security threat. This young woman wasn't acting like a spy or a terrorist. She was acting like a student who happened to be incredibly smart. The question was, how smart was too smart to be normal? Mira found the email in her inbox on Tuesday morning. The subject line read, "Special Research Opportunity. MIT Advanced Physics Program." She almost deleted it, thinking it was spam, but something made her click it open. "Dear Miss Park," the email began. "Your exceptional work in quantum mechanics has come to our attention. We would like to invite you to participate in a special research project that could lead to a full scholarship and graduate program placement." The email was signed by Dr. Sarah Williams from something called the National Science Research Foundation. Mira had never heard of it, but the opportunity sounded amazing. 2 days later, Mira walked into a building she had never seen before, located 20 minutes from campus. The address from the email led her to a modern office complex with no signs or company names on the outside. A woman in a business suit met her at the entrance. "Miss Park, I'm Dr. Williams. Thank you for coming." Dr. Williams was actually Agent Lisa Park, using a fake name and fake credentials. She led Mira through several security doors and into a small room with white walls, a desk, and a computer. "The test is quite simple," Dr. Williams explained. "We're going to show you some incomplete technical designs. Your job is to figure out what's missing and complete the systems. You have 6 hours." In another room, Agent Kim watched everything through hidden cameras. With him were 3 other FBI agents and 2 government scientists. They all stared at monitors showing Mira sitting at the desk. "Remember," Kim said to his team, "we expect her to either fail completely or reveal how she gained access to classified information. Either way, we'll have our answer." On Mira's computer screen, the first design appeared. It looked like a strange engine with curved metal pieces and glowing crystals. Many parts were missing, and the design made no sense according to normal physics. The FBI team expected Mira to stare at it in confusion. Instead, she tilted her head and smiled, like someone who had just seen an old friend. "Interesting," she said to herself, and began typing. In the observation room, Dr. Helen Chung, one of the government scientists, leaned forward. "Those are schematics from the Arizona crash site. We've had teams working on that propulsion system for 3 years." On screen, Mira's fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. She wasn't just completing the missing pieces. She was redesigning entire sections of the alien engine. "She's making it more efficient," Dr. Chung whispered. "Look at how she's routing the energy flow. That's brilliant." The second design appeared on Mira's screen. This one looked like a weapon system with energy tubes and focusing crystals. Again, crucial components were missing. Mira studied it for only 5 minutes before she started working. She drew new diagrams and wrote equations that made the weapon both more powerful and more precise. She even added safety features that the original alien designers had forgotten. "Impossible," breathed the other scientist, Dr. Robert Kim. "She's solving problems that our best engineers couldn't figure out." The third and final design was the most complex. It was a communication array that used quantum fields and gravitational waves, the same type of system Mira had described in Professor Lee's class. This time, Mira didn't hesitate at all. She recognized the design immediately and began improving it right away. Her modifications made the system 3 times more efficient and able to send messages across much greater distances. Agent Kim spoke into his radio. "Sir, we have a problem. She's not just completing the designs. She's making them better than the originals." "How much better?" came the reply. "Better than anything we have. Better than anything the aliens who built them had." In the test room, Mira finished her work and leaned back in her chair. She had completed all 3 assignments in just 4 hours, not 6. She looked at Dr. Williams with a satisfied smile. "That was fun," she said. "These designs reminded me of some theoretical work I've been doing. Whoever created the original systems was very smart, but they missed some obvious improvements." Dr. Williams tried to keep her expression neutral, but inside she was shocked. This 19-year-old student had just casually improved alien technology that represented thousands of years of advanced civilization. "Thank you, Miss Park," she managed to say. "We'll be in touch about the scholarship." As Mira left the building, she felt excited about the possibility of the scholarship. She had no idea that in the observation room, Agent Kim was making the most important phone call of his career. "We need to bring her in," he said. "Not as a suspect, as an asset. This girl might be the most important person on Earth." Mira was walking to her chemistry class when she noticed the man following her. He wore a dark suit and sunglasses, just like Hannah had described. This time, he wasn't trying to hide. The man approached her as she reached the steps of the science building. "Miss Park, I'm Agent Kim Taho, FBI. I need to speak with you." He showed her a badge with his photo and official FBI seal. Mira's heart started beating fast. She had never been in trouble with the law before. "What did I do wrong?" she asked. "You're not in trouble," Agent Kim said calmly. "But we need to talk. It's about your recent research work." 20 minutes later, Mira sat in a small room at the FBI Boston office. The walls were gray, and there was only a table, 2 chairs, and a recording device. Agent Kim sat across from her with a thick folder in his hands. "Miss Park, I want to show you something," he said, opening the folder. "Do you recognize these equations?" Mira looked at the papers and nodded. "Yes, those are mine. I wrote them during Professor Lee's class last week, and these others are from that scholarship test I took." Agent Kim pulled out more papers. "These equations describe technology that officially doesn't exist. They match classified government projects that are top secret." Mira's eyes widened. "I don't understand. What kind of projects?" "Alien technology," Agent Kim said simply. "Recovered from crashed spacecraft. We've been studying these systems for years, trying to figure out how they work." For a moment, Mira just stared at him. Then she started laughing. "Alien technology. You're joking, right? This is some kind of test." Agent Kim's expression didn't change. "I'm completely serious. The equations you wrote in class describe a faster-than-light communication system we found in Nevada. Your scholarship test solutions improve propulsion and weapon systems from crashed alien ships." Mira stopped laughing. She could see that Agent Kim wasn't joking. "But that's impossible," she said slowly. "I just made those up. They came from my own thinking." "That's what makes this so interesting," Agent Kim replied. He pulled out photos of strange metal objects covered in alien writing. "These are the actual devices. Your equations describe exactly how they work." Mira leaned forward to study the photos. The alien technology looked familiar somehow, like something she had seen in a dream. She could almost understand how the pieces fit together. "May I?" she asked, pointing to a pen on the table. Agent Kim nodded and handed it to her. Mira began drawing on the back of one of the photos. Her hand moved quickly, sketching improvements to the alien device. "The energy flow is inefficient here," she said, drawing new lines. "And this crystal array could be arranged better. Also, why didn't they add backup power systems? That seems dangerous." Agent Kim watched in amazement as Mira casually redesigned alien technology like she was fixing a broken radio. "Miss Park," he said carefully, "how do you know all this?" Mira looked up from her drawing. "I don't know. It just makes sense to me, like when you look at a math problem and immediately see the answer." She continued sketching. "These aliens were smart, but they think too much inside rules. Humans are better at finding creative solutions." "What do you mean?" "Look here," Mira pointed to her drawing. "They built this weapon to be very precise, and follow exact patterns. But what if you need to adapt quickly? What if the situation changes? She drew more modifications. If you make the energy system flexible and add these feedback loops, the weapon can adjust itself automatically. It becomes much more effective. Agent Kim realized he was watching something extraordinary. This young woman wasn't just understanding alien technology. She was making it better. Miss Park, I need to ask you something important. Have you ever been contacted by foreign agents? Has anyone asked you about your research? No, Mira said, still focused on her drawings. The only people who seem interested in my work are you and Professor Lee. Oh, and that Dr. Williams from the scholarship program. Agent Kim made a note. Dr. Williams was actually Agent Lisa Park, but he decided not to mention that yet. One more question. How long have you been able to do this? Understand complex physics so easily? Mira finally looked up from her drawings. Always, I guess. Even as a child, I could see patterns that other people missed. Math and physics just make sense to me. She paused, then added, Is that why you're here? Because I'm good at physics. Agent Kim looked at the drawings she had made. In 15 minutes, she had improved alien technology that teams of scientists had been struggling with for years. Miss Park, he said, I think you might be the most important person we've ever met. The airplane ride took 3 hours. Mira pressed her face against the window, watching the desert landscape pass below. Agent Kim sat beside her, reading files marked Top Secret. He had told her they were going to a special research facility, but nothing more. Where exactly are we going? Mira asked for the third time. Nevada, Agent Kim replied. You'll understand everything soon. The plane landed at a small airport in the middle of nowhere. A black car waited for them. Driven by a man in military uniform, they drove for another hour through empty desert before reaching a fence with warning signs. Authorized personnel only. Mira read aloud. Deadly force authorized. What kind of place is this? The kind that doesn't exist on any map, Agent Kim said. They passed through 3 security checkpoints before finally stopping at a building that looked like a huge metal box buried in the ground. Armed guards stood at every entrance. Inside, Mira was amazed to see laboratories filled with equipment she didn't recognize. Scientists in white coats moved between workstations, studying strange objects under bright lights. Miss Park, welcome to Project Blue Sky, said a voice behind her. Mira turned to see a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. He wore a white lab coat with Dr. Nam Sungo written on the name tag. Dr. Nam is our chief scientist, Agent Kim explained. He's been waiting to meet you. Dr. Nam shook Mira's hand. I've seen your work, Miss Park. Quite impressive. Would you like to see what we've been studying here? He led them deeper into the facility, past rooms filled with computers and machines. Finally, they reached a large chamber with thick glass walls. Inside the chamber, Mira could see pieces of metal that seemed to glow with their own light. This is from a crash site in Arizona, 1995, Dr. Nam said. The ship was badly damaged, but we recovered several key components. Mira stared at the alien technology. The metal looked smooth and alive somehow, changing color as she watched. Strange symbols were carved into its surface. We've been trying to understand how it works for almost 30 years, Dr. Nam continued. Our best scientists have made some progress, but many systems remain a mystery. He pressed a button, and the glass wall slid open. Would you like to take a closer look? Mira stepped into the chamber carefully. As she got closer to the alien device, she felt a strange tingling in her mind. The symbols on the metal seemed to shift and move, almost like they were trying to tell her something. It's a power core, she said suddenly, but not like any human battery. It draws energy from space itself. Dr. Nam's eyes widened. How do you know that? I can see it, Mira said, reaching out to touch the metal. The energy flows in patterns, like rivers of light moving through different dimensions. The moment her fingers touched the alien metal, the device came alive. Lights began pulsing along its surface, and a low humming sound filled the chamber. "Incredible," Dr. Nam whispered. "It hasn't done that since we found it." Mira closed her eyes and let her mind explore the patterns she could sense in the device. Images flashed through her thoughts. Alien worlds, star maps, technology beyond human understanding. "There are others," she said, opening her eyes. "Many other species. They call themselves the Helix Coalition." Agent Kim stepped forward. "What else can you see?" "They've been watching Earth for a long time," Mira continued, still touching the device. "Some of them want to help us. Others think we're dangerous." She moved to another piece of alien technology, a curved panel covered in crystal formations. When she touched it, holographic images appeared in the air above it. "This is a communication system," she said. "They use it to talk across the galaxy instantly." The hologram showed a map of the Milky Way galaxy with thousands of glowing dots. Each dot represented a world with intelligent life. "So many civilizations," Dr. Nam breathed. "Are they all more advanced than us?" Mira studied the holographic display. "Some are. But humans think differently than they do." "What do you mean?" "Alien minds are very logical. They follow rules and patterns perfectly. But human brains are messy and creative. We find solutions that pure logic can't discover." She pointed to different parts of the alien technology. "Look at these designs. They're efficient and powerful, but they're also limited. The aliens who made them couldn't imagine better ways to do things." Mira picked up a tool from a nearby workstation and began adjusting the alien device. "But if you change this connection here and reroute the energy flow like this." The device's humming grew louder, and its lights became brighter. Numbers on nearby computer screens began climbing rapidly. "You just increased its power output by 200%, Dr. Nam said in amazement. "We've been trying to do that for 15 years. "It was easy," Mira said with a smile. "You just have to think like a human instead of like an alien." Agent Kim looked at Dr. Nam. Both men realized they were witnessing something that would change everything humanity thought about its place in the universe. "Miss Park," Dr. Nam said slowly, "I think we need to show you everything we have here. And then we need to discuss Earth's future." As they walked deeper into the facility, Mira felt excitement building in her chest. For the first time in her life, she was surrounded by technology that challenged her mind. She couldn't wait to see what other alien mysteries were waiting for her to solve. For the next 2 weeks, Mira lived at the Nevada facility. She had her own room, her own workspace, and access to alien technology that most humans would never see. Every day brought new discoveries. Dr. Nam watched her work with amazement. Mira would pick up an alien device, study it for a few minutes, then begin making improvements. She worked with tools and materials that had puzzled scientists for decades. "How do you do it?" Dr. Nam asked one morning as Mira modified another alien communication array. "I think about problems differently," Mira explained, connecting 2 crystals with a thin wire. "Aliens seem to follow very strict rules. They think step by step, always in the same order." She pointed to the original alien design. "See how they built this. Every part has a specific function. It works perfectly, but only in one way. And humans think differently." "We're messier," Mira laughed. "Human brains jump around. We see connections that don't seem logical. We try things that shouldn't work but sometimes do." She activated her modified device. The communication array began transmitting signals across space 3 times faster than before. "The aliens who built this were very smart," she continued. "But they couldn't imagine doing it any other way. They were trapped by their own perfect logic." Dr. Nam made notes as he watched her work. "So human creativity is actually an advantage." "A huge advantage," Mira said. "Aliens spend years calculating the perfect solution. Humans guess, experiment, and find shortcuts." That afternoon, Mira worked on an alien weapon system. The original design was incredibly precise, but slow to adjust to new targets. She added feedback circuits that let the weapon learn and adapt. "This is impossible," said Dr. Lee Ki-wan, another scientist at the facility. "The weapon is now smarter than the alien who designed it." "Not smarter," Mira corrected, "just more flexible. Humans are good at adapting to change." She demonstrated by setting up moving targets. The alien weapon in its original form could hit stationary objects perfectly but struggled with anything that moved unpredictably. Her modified version tracked the moving targets easily, predicting their paths and adjusting its aim automatically. "The alien version thinks like a machine," she explained. "My version thinks like a hunter. It watches, learns, and guesses where the target will go next." By the end of the second week, Mira had improved every piece of alien technology in the facility. Faster-than-light communication systems worked better. Energy weapons were more powerful and accurate. Propulsion engines were more efficient. "We need to test the communication array," Dr. Nam said one morning. "See if we can make contact with the Helix Coalition." Mira had been waiting for this moment. She had spent days fine-tuning the communication system to send messages across the galaxy instantly. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Agent Kim asked. "What if we attract the wrong kind of attention?" "They already know about us," Mira said. "The crashed ships prove they've been coming to Earth for years. It's better to talk than to wait." Dr. Nam agreed. "Miss Park is right. We need to know their intentions." That evening, they powered up Mira's improved communication array. The device hummed with energy as it connected to quantum fields that stretched across space and time. "Signal ready," Dr. Nam announced. "What should we say?" "Something simple," Mira suggested. "Hello, we are humans from Earth. We want to talk." She typed the message into the system and pressed the transmission button. The message traveled through folded space, reaching the Helix Coalition fleet in seconds. Far away in space, Commander Velek received the transmission. His ship's computers analyzed the signal and reported something that shocked him. "Commander," his communications officer said, "this message came from Earth, but the technology they used is more advanced than ours." "That's impossible," Velek replied. "Earth humans are primitive. They shouldn't even know faster-than-light communication exists." "The signal is definitely from Earth, sir, and whoever sent it improved our own communication protocols." Commander Velek stared at the message display. Earth was supposed to be a backwater planet with barely spaceflight capability. How could they have better technology than the Helix Coalition? "Sir," another officer reported, "we're detecting other improved technologies on Earth. Energy weapons, propulsion systems, power generators, all based on our designs, but significantly enhanced." "Enhanced how?" "They're more efficient, more adaptable, and more powerful than our originals. It's like someone took our technology and made it better in every way." Commander Velek felt a chill run through his body. For thousands of years, the Helix Coalition had been the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. They had superior technology, superior logic, superior everything. But now a primitive planet was improving their technology like it was child's play. "Open a channel to Coalition Command," Velek ordered. "We have a situation." Back on Earth, Mira watched the communication array waiting for a response. She felt excited and nervous at the same time. "Do you think they'll answer?" Dr. Nam asked. "Oh yes," Mira said with confidence. "They'll answer. But I don't think they're going to be happy about what we just showed them." The device began receiving a return signal. The first message from aliens to humans was about to arrive, and everything would change forever. Commander Velek stood on the bridge of his massive warship, staring at the holographic display that showed Earth. The small blue planet looked peaceful and harmless from space, but the reports on his desk told a very different story. "Read me the latest intelligence report," he ordered his communications officer. "Yes, sir. Earth humans have now improved 17 different coalition technologies. Power output increased by an average of 250%. Efficiency improvements range from 200% to 400%. Some systems show capabilities we didn't know were possible. Vilek's forearms crossed in frustration. How is this possible? Our scientists spent thousands of years developing those technologies. Unknown, sir, but the modifications all show similar patterns. The humans think in ways we don't understand. Behind Vilek, other coalition officers whispered among themselves. Some belonged to species that looked like tall, thin humans with blue skin. Others resembled large insects with multiple eyes. A few looked like living rocks with crystals growing from their bodies. Despite their different appearances, they all shared one thing. They were all afraid. "Commander," said Captain Thek, a rock-like being from the planet Korvax, "my people have been studying human modifications to our mining equipment. The humans made it work 300% faster while using less energy. And my fleet's weapons," added Admiral Zara, whose insect-like species had developed the Coalition's most advanced combat systems. "The humans took our plasma cannons and made them twice as powerful and 3 times more accurate." Vilek listened to report after report. Every Coalition species was finding that humans had improved their technology beyond recognition. "Sir," the communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving another transmission from Earth." "Put it on screen." A hologram appeared showing a young human female with dark hair. She looked directly at the camera with bright, confident eyes. "Hello," the human said. "My name is Park Mira. I'm speaking for the people of Earth. We received your ship's signals and decided to respond." Vilek stepped closer to the hologram. This small human looked harmless, almost like a child. But something about her eyes made him nervous. "We know you've been watching our planet for many years," Mira continued. "We found some of your technology in crashed ships. We studied it, and we made some improvements." "Improvements," Vilek repeated quietly. "We don't want to fight," Mira said. "We want to learn from each other. But we also want you to know that Earth is not defenseless anymore." The hologram changed to show human spacecraft. They looked like Coalition ships, but sleeker and more advanced. Energy readings showed power levels that exceeded anything in the Coalition fleet. "We built these ships using your technology as a starting point," Mira explained. "But we made them better. Faster engines, stronger shields, more powerful weapons." Captain Thek stepped forward. "Commander, those human ships show energy signatures 400% higher than our best warships." Vilek felt cold fear growing in his chest. "How many ships do they have?" "We built 50 ships in the past month," Mira's voice continued, as if answering his question. "We could build more if we needed to." The hologram showed human factories where thousands of workers assembled spacecraft using advanced Coalition technology. But every piece was modified, improved, and enhanced beyond the original specifications. "We hope we can be friends," Mira said. "But if you come to Earth with hostile intentions, you should know that we can defend ourselves." The transmission ended, leaving the Coalition bridge in stunned silence. "Sir," the communications officer said quietly, "intelligence reports that humans have also improved our shield technology, our faster-than-light drives, and our energy production systems." "All of them." "All of them, sir. In some cases, the improvements are so significant that our own equipment looks primitive by comparison." Admiral Zara spoke up. "Commander, my species has been building weapons for 10,000 years. We thought we understood the limits of physics. But these humans, they broke rules we didn't even know existed." Vilek walked to the main view screen and stared at Earth. For centuries, Coalition policy had been simple. Advanced species like themselves watched and protected primitive species like humans. When primitive species became too dangerous, the Coalition would intervene. But what do you do when the primitive species suddenly becomes more advanced than you are? "Sir," Captain Thek said, "the Coalition Council is requesting an immediate conference. All species leaders want to discuss the Earth situation." "What are our options?" Vilek asked. "3 possibilities, sir. First, we could attempt to destroy Earth before they become even more powerful. Second, we could try to make peaceful contact and hope they don't want to conquer us. Third, we could retreat to the far edge of the galaxy and hope they don't follow us. Velak thought about the human ships he had seen in the transmission. 50 ships that were each more powerful than his entire fleet, and they could build more whenever they wanted. "Sir," his weapons officer reported, "our computer models show that the human fleet could defeat the entire coalition military in direct combat." "How is that possible?" "Their technology is simply better than ours, sir. More efficient, more powerful, more adaptable. It's like they took everything we know and improved it." Velak made his decision. "Send a message to Coalition Command. Tell them we need to talk to the humans. Not as conquerors, but as equals. And if they refuse to talk." Velak looked at the peaceful blue planet one more time. "Then we hope they're as friendly as they claim to be." The message from space arrived at exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth time. Every radio telescope and communication array on the planet received the same signal simultaneously. The message was clear and direct. "People of Earth, this is Commander Velak of the Helix Coalition. We have watched your rapid technological development with great interest. However, we must verify your capabilities before we can consider you equals in galactic society." In the Nevada facility, Mira sat in the emergency meeting room with Dr. Nam, Agent Kim, and 12 other government officials. The alien message continued playing on screens around the room. "We present you with 3 challenges," Commander Velak's voice said. "These are problems that typically take advanced civilizations decades to solve. You have 72 hours to complete all 3. If you succeed, we will meet with you as equals. If you fail, we will consider Earth too dangerous to ignore." The message ended with a clear threat. "Choose wisely, humans. Your planet's future depends on your answer." "What kind of challenges are they talking about?" asked General Roberts, the military representative. Dr. Nam pulled up files on his computer. The signal included 3 technical problems. "Let me show you the first one." The screen filled with complex diagrams showing strange geometric shapes and mathematical equations. "This appears to be a dimensional mechanics problem. They want us to create a stable portal between 2 points in space." "A portal?" Agent Kim asked. "Like teleportation?" "More than that. A permanent gateway that could allow instant travel across the galaxy." Mira studied the alien diagrams. The shapes looked familiar, like puzzles she had solved before. "I can do this one," she said quietly. "The second challenge," Dr. Nam continued, "involves something called quantum consciousness manipulation. They want us to create a device that can enhance intelligence and memory." More diagrams appeared, showing brain-like structures connected to crystalline computers. This technology could make any human as smart as the smartest alien species. "And the third challenge?" General Roberts asked. "Space-time engineering. They want us to build a machine that can slow down or speed up time in a specific area." The room fell silent. These weren't just difficult problems. They were technologies that could reshape civilization itself. "How long would it normally take to solve these?" Agent Kim asked. "For human scientists working alone, probably 100 years for each problem," Dr. Nam replied. "Maybe more." "And we have 72 hours, General Roberts said grimly. Everyone turned to look at Mira. She was still studying the alien diagrams, her pen moving quickly across a notepad. "Miss Park," Dr. Nam asked, "what do you think?" "They're testing us," Mira said without looking up, "but not the way they think they are." "What do you mean?" Mira finally looked up from her notes. "These challenges aren't meant to be solved by one person or even one team. They're designed for entire civilizations working together for decades. So we can't do it." "We can do it," Mira said with confidence, "but only if we think like humans instead of like aliens." She stood up and walked to the whiteboard. Aliens approach problems step by step, very carefully and logically. They would study each challenge separately and solve them one at a time. She began drawing diagrams on the board. But humans are different. We see connections between things that seem unrelated. We combine ideas in ways that shouldn't work but do. Go on, Dr. Nam encouraged. Look at these 3 challenges: portal creation, consciousness enhancement, and time manipulation. The aliens think they're separate problems, but they're not. Her pen moved quickly across the whiteboard, connecting the 3 alien diagrams with new lines and equations. A portal bends space. Enhanced consciousness processes information faster. Time manipulation changes the speed of events. But they all work with the same basic principles, controlling the flow of energy through different dimensions. The room watched as Mira combined all 3 alien challenges into one unified solution. If we build one machine that does all 3 things at once, it becomes much easier. The portal technology provides the dimensional framework. The consciousness enhancer handles the complex calculations. The time manipulation keeps everything stable. Dr. Nam stared at the whiteboard in amazement. You're right. It's like they gave us 3 pieces of the same puzzle. Exactly. Aliens would never think to combine them because they're too logical, but humans look for shortcuts and connections. General Roberts stepped forward. How long will it take to build this combined machine? With the right team and resources, 48 hours, Mira replied. We'll have almost a full day to spare. What do you need? I need the best engineers, physicists, and technicians you can find. I need access to all the alien technology we have, and I need everyone to trust me when I tell them to do things that seem impossible. Agent Kim smiled. After everything we've seen you do, Miss Park, I think we can manage that. As the meeting ended and people began making phone calls to assemble Mira's team, she stayed behind to study the alien challenges one more time. Miss Park, Dr. Nam asked, are you really confident we can solve this? Mira looked at him with bright, determined eyes. Dr. Nam, these aliens have been watching us for years. They think they understand humans, but they've made one big mistake. What's that? They still think we're trying to be like them. They don't realize that being human is actually better. 47 hours after the alien challenge began, Mira stood in front of a machine that shouldn't have existed. The device was the size of a school bus, covered in crystalline structures that pulsed with soft blue light. Cables and energy conduits connected it to power sources throughout the facility. Final systems check complete, announced Dr. Nam from the control station. All 3 challenge requirements are integrated and ready for testing. Around them, exhausted scientists and engineers watched nervously. They had worked without sleep for 2 days straight, following Mira's designs that combined portal creation, consciousness enhancement, and time manipulation into one incredible machine. Miss Park, Agent Kim said, the whole world is watching. Are you ready? Mira nodded and placed her hands on the machine's control interface. The crystals responded to her touch, glowing brighter as the device came fully online. Beginning demonstration, she announced. First, she activated the portal system. A shimmering circle of light appeared in the air 10 feet away. Through the portal, they could see a laboratory in Japan on the other side of the Earth. Portal technology complete, Dr. Nam reported. Next, Mira engaged the consciousness enhancement array. Volunteer scientist Dr. Kim Yuna put on a helmet connected to the machine. Immediately, her eyes became brighter and more focused. I can see so much more clearly, Dr. Kim Yuna said in amazement. Mathematical relationships I never noticed before. Connections between physics concepts that seem obvious now. Consciousness enhancement complete, Dr. Nam announced. Finally, Mira activated the time manipulation field. In a glass chamber next to the machine, a clock began ticking at half speed, while everything else remained normal. Time differential field stable, reported the lead engineer. Time manipulation complete. But Mira wasn't finished. While the alien challenges asked for 3 separate technologies, her unified machine could do something no alien device had ever achieved. Now for the real demonstration, she said with a smile. She activated all 3 systems simultaneously. The portal expanded, the consciousness enhancer connected to multiple people at once, and the time field surrounded the entire machine. The result was incredible. The machine opened portals to 12 different locations across Earth instantly. Every connected scientist suddenly possessed enhanced intelligence that let them understand alien technology perfectly. And time moved at different speeds around the machine, allowing them to work on multiple projects simultaneously. Impossible, whispered General Roberts. She solved challenges that were meant to take decades, and she's made them work together in ways the aliens never imagined. At that moment, screens throughout the facility showed an incoming transmission from space. Commander Villak appeared, but his expression was very different from before. "People of Earth," he began, "we have monitored your response to our challenges. What we have seen changes everything we thought we knew about your species." Mira stepped forward to respond. At 20 years old, she was about to become the voice of humanity to the galaxy. "Commander Villak, we completed your challenges as requested. But we did more than that. We showed you something important about humans." "And what is that?" "We don't just solve problems the way other species do. We find better ways that nobody else thought of. We make connections that seem impossible. We turn 3 separate challenges into one unified solution." On his ship, Commander Villak studied the readings from Earth. The human machine wasn't just meeting the challenge requirements. It was exceeding them by incredible amounts. "Your portal technology is 500% more efficient than ours," he admitted. "Your consciousness enhancement system is safer and more powerful. Your time manipulation creates effects we didn't know were possible." "That's because humans think differently," Mira explained. "We don't follow rigid rules like other species. We experiment, we guess, we try things that shouldn't work but sometimes do." She gestured to the machine behind her. "You gave us 3 impossible problems. But impossible is just another word for nobody has figured it out yet." Commander Villak was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke words that would change galactic history forever. "Earth humans, on behalf of the Helix Coalition, I formally request an alliance. We no longer see you as a primitive species to be watched or controlled. We see you as teachers who could help us understand the universe in ways we never imagined." "We accept your alliance," Mira replied. "But we have one condition." "Name it." "We share knowledge equally. You teach us your advanced theories and technologies. We teach you human creativity and problem-solving methods. Together, we can achieve things that neither of us could do alone." 3 months later, Mira stood at the podium in the United Nations Assembly Hall. Behind her sat delegates from 12 alien species, all eager to learn from human scientists and engineers. "6 months ago, I was just a college student trying to pass my physics classes," she told the gathered world leaders. "Today, I'm honored to serve as Earth's first ambassador of cognitive sciences." She looked out at the audience, which included her roommate Hannah, Professor Lee, and Agent Kim, who now headed the FBI's new Department of Interstellar Affairs. "The aliens came to test us," Mira continued. "They wanted to know if humans were smart enough to join galactic society, but they learned something more important. That being smart isn't just about following rules and calculating perfect answers." She smiled as she delivered her final words. "Sometimes being smart means being human. It means finding new ways to think, new ways to solve problems, and new ways to turn impossible challenges into incredible opportunities." The applause that followed could be heard across the world and throughout the galaxy as humanity took its place among the stars, not as students, but as teachers of the greatest lesson of all, that there's always a better way if you're creative enough to find it.